Blissful morning to you. Um, I can see a lot of improvements in your learning outcomes, and that is fantastic. Okay, so we have talked about using factor methods to find square roots. Okay, so there are some times that they will just give you questions. You will not need to use factor method. They will just want you to find the square root. Something like they can give you something like this. Square root of 25 over 36. Okay, you don't need to use factor method here. So you just need to tell us that okay, square root of 25 over 36 can be split into square root of 25 over square root of 36. So what's the square root of 25? That's 5. What's the square root of 36? That is 6. So 5 over 6 is our answer. We can also have some miscellaneous questions they can give you in terms of maybe square root of one whole number. Let me see. One whole number. Um 9/16. Okay. So they ask you to find the square root of this. Okay. So you can see that what we have in the square root is a mixed fraction. One whole number 9/16. So you find a way of converting it to improper fraction. 1 times 16, that's 16. 16 plus 9, and that will give us on 25. That will give us 25 over 16. And you can also split this into, you can split this into square root of, you can split it into square root of 25 over square root of 16, and that will eventually give you 5. Square root of 25 is 5, square root of 16 is 4, that's 5 over 4. And you can still turn this 5 over 4, since it's an improper fraction, you can turn it to a mixed fraction. How many 4 can go in 5? That's 1. 1 will number 1 over 4. Okay, so you can have questions like this still under square root. Okay, so having understood what square root is all about now, let's move on to squares. Let's move on to squares. So squares is just the direct opposite of a square root. Squares, when we say squares, it's just the direct opposite of square root. So when we say squares, squares is the multiplication of number by itself twice. If I say a square now, it means a multiplied by a. So when I say 5 square, 5 square means 5 multiplied by 5, and that will give us 25. So if I say 6 square, 6 square will give us 6 multiplied by 6, and that will give us 36. Okay, so if I'm interested in finding the squares of any number, let's say 10 square now. 10 square will definitely give me 10 multiplied by 10, and that is 100. So square is multiplication of number by itself twice. This is square is different from square root. This is symbol for square root. This is symbol for square root. Why this one? That 10 raised to power 2 is symbol for square. Okay, so having understood these two concepts, that means that we have been able to talk about what we mean by squares, what we mean by square roots. Okay, so I will give you this. Try to find, okay, find the squares, find the squares, find the squares of numbers from, how do I put it, from, or let me say, find the numbers of squares. Okay, okay, find the numbers of squares. Let's say 11, 12, 15, 20, 22, 25, 30. Okay, so try to find the squares of these numbers. Then let's see, find the square root, find the square root, find the square root of a, square root of 100 over 36. Then let's be yeah, square root of one number of 49. Let me write it, I don't know. Okay, just let's leave it as square root of 49 over 64. Okay, try to do that. Now we are waiting your answer. So after this, we are going to have a test of what we have learned so far. We are going to have a test. Have a beautiful morning.